Hello everybody. Today I'm going to review something that I've had for quite some time. I bought a decant of this last year. It is from the house of Jovoy, Paris. It is private label. I have had quite a bit of time now with this fragrance. My decants lasted me a long time. When you smell this, just before I get into the actual smell, it can be classified as a vetiver or a leather or even a patchouli from the accords I smell. Most people agree it's a vetiver dominant fragrance, and I don't disagree with that. It's just that at different times during the wear, you pick up different things. But look, I'll spray the opening on and I'll describe what I'm smelling. So what you get, wow. This is one of the best, for me, one of the best vetiver notes that I've smelled, and I'm not experienced like as much as some people might be, or I've smelled hundreds and hundreds of vetivers, but I've smelled a few now, and when I say it's the best, it's just that I really like this compared to a lot of the vetiver notes that I've smelled even in my fragrance wardrobe. What I love about this vetiver is that at the same time it's this really earthy vetiver that comes through, but there's no rough edges about it. To me, it's like just this really creamy, earthy vetiver, and it's combined with what I perceive as papyrus. And I recognize the papyrus note because it is similar to a note that I smell in a couple of other fragrances that I have that have a listed papyrus note. So I'm making the presumption that the papyrus is what I'm smelling here. So in the opening, you definitely get that creamy, smooth vetiver, earthy vetiver with papyrus, and just sitting beneath it is this almost minty clean patchouli. I think that most of the earthiness is coming from the vetiver, and the patchouli is almost providing this mintiness to it that gives it a high pitched accord. So to me, in the opening, this is not I don't perceive this as a dark fragrance. It's actually really such a nose smacking, invigorating opening. Now, as it dries down slowly, the patchouli comes more into play, but then you also start to smell this leather accord. Now, just bear in mind that vetiver will remain throughout the whole dry down. The papyrus kind of leaves after a while. The patchouli comes more into play, and then this kind of leather accord comes to the fore, and it's a birchy leather. It's a smoky kind of leather, but again, the beauty of this fragrance to me is that you have all these potentially dirty, rough elements, earthy, smoky, like birch leather and patchouli and earthy vetiver, but when you smell this, it's like you're smelling the equivalent of a finely polished piece of jewelry that is being cleaned and it's sparkling and it's amazing to look at. But when you look a little bit closer at the piece of jewelry, you see all the parts that it makes up. So private label is one of those fragrances, because this, when you put it on, you get a general feel, you get a general accord, an illusion of what you're smelling, and then if you take the time to put your nose to your skin, you pick up all the lovely facets that are making this fragrance up. I mean, that's what perfumery is about, I guess, except in some fragrances you don't quite achieve that effect The great ones, I guess do. And I rate this fragrance really highly. So not apart from the fact that it's got some quite common, it's made up by some quite common and well-worn fragrance ingredients. I have not really smelled anything quite as good as this with this combination. I used to think that there were similarities between this and the much cheaper Lalique Hommage à l'Homme Voyageur. When I tested them side by side, there were clear differences. There is definitely more of a leather accord going on with the Jovoy private label. So I wouldn't call one a copy of the other, but it did, every time I wore the Lalique, I got reminded of this. But I ended up selling my bottle of Lalique because I didn't quite find it exciting to wear, whereas I want a full bottle of Jovoy private label. Needless to say, this, when you spray it on, it projects immediately. This is quite the monster in terms of performance. And not so much, longevity is great, but not, like days and days. On me, it lasts a whole day, but it's more the projection. Like, I'm smelling this coming off my skin the whole time, and it doesn't feel like it gets weaker when you're wearing it as well. So there is a little bit of development. It develops, ultimately becomes this gorgeous woody base. The leather is still there. The birch tar smoke comes through a little bit more. What I don't pick up in here from the listed notes is labdanum. I don't get any of that sweetness that you get from labdanum. Maybe it's there just to provide a bit of smokiness and some depth in the bottom, but it's not something that that I notice in this fragrance, at least anyway. Private label is a big yes for me. I mean, Jovoy are not cheap, but I think for the quality of this particular fragrance, I think it's well worth the spend. That's all for me, I think. I don't have much else to add to that review, but if you have tested private label, or you have it, or you've want to try it, comment below. I'll see you later.